This is Build It Baby, the show for big ideas, brave pivots, and bold next chapters. So let's do it. Let's build it, baby. Hey there, Penelope Bent here, along with my spectacular producer, Morgan Clymer. Welcome to Build It Baby. If you're launching your first offer or pivoting your career or building something brand new from the heart, we've got you. So here's my question for you. Where are you headed? You know, this thing called life is a long road with lots of twists and turns. So whether you're interested in building a boat business or creating an amazing career or life, I believe it's very important to stop from time to time and ask yourself, where am I headed and why? And I think one of the most important pieces of this question is, are you headed toward a planned destination? In other words, is your career, are you creating this amazing career? Is this your plan? Is this a planned journey, or was this someone else's journey? You know, I always want to remind my clients that when you're starting to build a business, a career, or a life, you want this to be your plan. You don't want to take your last breath and realize that you spent your entire lifetime in a career or a lifestyle that was not yours. Maybe that was what your parents wanted you to be when you grew up. And I really am a strong believer in making sure that your destination is your destination. Through all the ups and the downs, it's your plan. You know exactly where you're headed, exactly where you're driving. And what do you see? Are you in a fog, or are you clear? Do you have a clear destination, a clear plan on how you're going to get there? It doesn't need to be this long, drawn-out detail. It's just really about, is it clear in your head? Is it clear on a piece of scratch paper? And most importantly, how do you feel about the direction that you're headed in? You know, feelings are amazing indicators and directional markers. I am big on, you know, I've made almost all my decisions in my lifetime on how I feel. That hasn't always been my best move, but by God, it was mine. So feelings can really let you know that you're in the wrong place, or they certainly can emphasize, yeah, I'm hitting my mark. I know exactly where I'm going. I can feel it in my bones. Or are you stuck? Maybe you're in a crappy job and have a business idea and you want to make a change, but you believe that you're really stuck. Maybe it's finances or overhead, or there's this voice. Who do you think you are? You know, what if you fail? We all have a billion stuck excuses. Unfortunately, our culture has a tendency to promote kind of a play it safe mentality. It almost promotes a fear consciousness, and it doesn't give us that confidence that we have the knowing. You know, I was raised in the 50s and 60s, and I watched my mother, you know, have to stay at home. She was brilliant. She was an amazing mother. But in those days, it was not allowed for women to go into the workplace. I think a lot of it was stemmed from all the men coming back after World War II. They felt that if women went to work, they were unpatriotic. That the jobs out there were for the men. And even though the women were very, very involved in the wartime effort, their job after the men came back from the war was to stay at home, have babies, be a good wife, have dinner on the table at 5. And that's what the culture was allowing for women in the day. And the part that struck me was my mom was brilliant, and yet she was a wonderful mother, but that was her, the restriction, that was what she, what the culture saw her as her lot in life. And not too long ago, I was given this amazing book called The Barbizon, The Hotel That Set Women Free. If you've never read the book, I definitely would put that on my I must read, especially for women today. And it's a true story. It's all about this amazing hotel that was in New York, that was an area that young women from all over the country were invited to stay for, I believe it was for a summer 12-week program by the editors of a well-known fashion magazine. And it actually was about creating the idea that women could participate in writing articles for the magazine. And so they all were housed at this amazing hotel in New York. And in those days, a woman couldn't even go into the bar alone. She had to be accompanied by a man. I mean, can you imagine that today? We couldn't go have a cocktail with our girlfriends? Oh, no way in hell. So I think it was amazing for me to see this perspective not so long ago, that women were confined to the role as a stay-at-home mom. And I think it's very important to realize that you're driving this car. I'm thrilled to be able to have launched my first buy. I bought a little business when I was 22 years old, a gift shop that actually is still thriving till this day. We sold it to some cousins after we had expanded it. And then, launched into the photography business when I was, 8 months pregnant, only had $600 in the bank. And due to a setback, we decided to open up the photography studio. And, that's been my career for over 40 years. And I had the pleasure of watching an interview from a woman. This interview was during the period of our online magazine, 2006 to 2017. She was being interviewed for the fashion business. She was a hat maker. Her name was Vanilla Bean. She lived in Oakland, California. And she lived to be about 101. But at the time, this was in her mid-90s. She was about 95 when the interview took place. And she was asked, do you have any great advice for women out there? And this was her advice. This is from Vanilla Bean. She said, love many, trust a few, and learn to paddle your own canoe. And I never forgot that interview. And I realized that I wanted to make sure that I was driving this bus. I knew exactly where I was headed, for better, for worse. Did I make a few wrong turns? You're damn right I did. Did I definitely, drive into a few potholes? Oh yeah, I stepped in more potholes than I can count. But did I survive? Did I learn? Did I love being in business for, now over 50 years? You betcha. Would I do it again? Absolutely, in a heartbeat. So just remember, from time to time, ask yourself, where are you headed and why you're headed there? This is your lifetime. This is your game. Run your race. This is time for you to build or create a career or a lifestyle that is something that, on that very last moment of the last day of your experience in this reality, you can honestly say, yeah, it was mine. I did it. I loved it. I did it my way, the whole way. And I'm thrilled to have ridden that ride. So here's the part where I tell you exactly what I know. These are my knowings. things, the things I no longer question, because they've shown themselves to me again and again. Not from a book, but from building, getting knocked down, getting back up, and doing this work in the real world. So here are my knowings. Number 1, know thyself. I'm a creative, for good or bad. I base almost all my decisions on how I feel. I know that that is not necessarily the best way to roll, but I've learned that my feelings are some of the best directional markers and indicators, and no one else owns them. They can't tell me my feelings are wrong. They're all mine. So I say, know yourself. Know how you feel about where you're going. Make those decisions on where you're headed. It's your ride. Steer it in the direction that you want it based on how you know yourself. Number 2, I am free to never be stuck. If I stay, this is my choice. If I'm in a mess, I always look at how much I participated in creating this situation, and then maybe I try to course correct. And I know if I'm not on the right path. Out of the universe, something will happen that is a real deal breaker for me. And I know, okay, that's it. I'm out of here. Number 3, I refuse to be a victim or allow a bad experience to define me. I mean, come on, we all have a story. I've heard more stories about what mommy and daddy did wrong. We've all been victimized in some way, shape, or form, but that's part of life. So, deal with it. Go to your great therapist or work it out in your own head. Make peace with it. Forgive those that you feel that you've been victimized by, and realize that whatever the negative that happened to you, that does not define you. What defines you is what you think of you. What defines you is what you do with all the gifts that you've been given. That's what defines you. You define you. And number 4, I know that this thing, this soup of life I'm living in, will never let me down. I know the universe, whether you want to call it the God, the life energy, whatever you want to call it, whatever that all good energy thing is to you, it will provide you with the answers you need exactly when you need them, or your circumstances will abruptly change out of the blue. And number 5, you just need to ask. Knowing, not believing, but learning to know. And then listen. There's no begging required. The universe will give us exactly the answer to the question. We don't have to beg for it. We just need to be receptive to it. And then finally, most importantly, remember who's driving. You're driving. It's your destiny. It's your destination. You're going wherever you have decided to go. It's on you. So own that, for better or for worse. But at least you're the one driving the car. And you're the one that knows where you need to go. So those are my knowings. Okay, time for listener questions. Hey there, Morgan. What do we have in our inbox?
Alrighty, so Jason from Colorado sent the following. I'm ready to make a change. Where should I begin?
Wow, that is a very, very big question. So, here's my thought. I think the most important piece of it is that you really want to make a change. The wanting, the desire, the need to make a change is probably some of the best ammunition, if you will, to help you, shoot this thing off. As humans, I think that the desire to want to create a better life for ourselves, or the wanting to provide more for our families, so our little ones can have those, the new back to school shoes that they are screaming about that they have to have. I think that when the wanting gets to be so strong, and when you start to really take time to make an inventory of where you are, and now you've gotten to that point where, okay, I am done with this. I got to make this change. That wanting, that desire, that knowing will give you the strength that you need to make the change. That's number one. The next piece of this is to sit down and, on a scratch paper or a cocktail napkin, that's when I do my best work, make a loose plan of where you want to head, but not so much about how you're going to get there, but take a look at what's in the inventory. I loosely think this is the career change I want to make, or this is the business that I want to build, or this is the one that I've been working on. So take a look at the inventory. Where are you? How much do you have in the bank? How much do you need what you have in the bank? How much, where are the parts and pieces? Do you have friends in your network that could help provide some of the information to help you make that move? What does the inventory look like? Does it require a building? Is it a business that you want to build that you could do remotely from your home? What are some of the financial concessions that you can make? Can you scale down to, one car rather than two? Did the kids have to go to private school? Could we maybe, send them to a really good public school? Is there another way to trim the budget so that I could make this move? I think looking at the inventory, looking at the parts and pieces, and looking at the players that you're putting together that could help you make the move. So you're asking, I really want to make the change, but how do I do that? Start collecting the parts and pieces. And most of all, and this is going to sound really weird, but once you make the decision that you're going to make this change, then by God, make it non-negotiable. You are not going back. I remember when I bought my first business with my husband at the time, and I had been working for Kaiser Hospital for quite a while. I went to school to be a nurse. And I remember coming, going to my dad at the time and saying, I'm so excited. My husband and I are going to buy this small business. We're going to go into business for ourselves. And oh my God, my father was beside himself, because he wanted to make sure that I was, staying with Kaiser Hospital, and that I had all the insurance that I needed, and this was a secure, safe place. And as tough as it was, and as much as I always wanted him to be pleased with me, I went against everything that he believed, and I moved forward and quit that business at Kaiser. And I remember saying to myself, I am not going to burn my bridges, but I am never going back. That was not an option. We are going to buy this. We are going to build it out and expand it from I saw a vision of what could be that had not been created. And I wanted to take it as far as I possibly could. So the desire and the knowing and the determination that I was not going to fail, and the sacrifices, the concessions. I went from driving a Corvette to driving a used Volkswagen. Was that the end of the world? No, not really. Did it help me put the numbers together that I needed to be able to live very economically while we were building this business and expanding it? Yes, it did. And it's also interesting. I mean, this is just bizarre, I'm sure, to most of you. But I didn't get my first credit card till I was 72 years old. Now, think about that for a minute. That means that I built all these businesses with nobody else's money. I think I borrowed $750 from my brother one time when I was struggling with payroll. But other than that, I used what I made to build the company. So I built it in small phases, and then I took that money and I expanded it. And then I took money from that division and I expanded to this, that, and the other thing. So the idea that you have to have this amazing investor, or you have to have all this money to build something that will thrive and that you will love every morning when you jump out of bed and your feet hit the ground, I don't think money is really the deal breaker. Just sit down and look what you've got. Look at the things that you could turn into the cash that you might need, or what you could downsize, or do you need to, move to a smaller place temporarily? And then know that all of the players are are behind you. I knew that my husband at the time was he was unhappy and miserable with his job. I wanted to make this move because I wanted him to be happier, dig into something and make it happen. Life is too short to be miserable. Do not be miserable for a minute in the job that you do not like, or the relationship that you do not like. It doesn't, you don't have to be, it's not rocket science. You just need to want it badly enough. Even if you have to do what I call the crap inventory. How crappy is the situation? Write it out. And man, if that doesn't make you jump into something new, nothing will. So I say, have faith in yourself. You'll come up with the knowings. The universe will provide the answers. Just go for it. Get the desire to be your sail and ride that sail to your chosen destination. So wanting to make the change and choosing to make it is one of the most important parts of life. Happiness is a choice. Joy is a choice. Loving every day that I wake up has been my choice. And I have loved it. And if I can do it, then by God, you can do it. Anyone can do it. Because I'm not this, brilliant individual. I was born and raised in a little town in, a little Sacramento, a little town in California. I never got a college education because that's not where they put their money when I was a young woman. But I have had an amazing life and career. And I did it on my terms. And have loved every moment of every day. So I say do it. I say make the move. You'll never look back, and you'll never ever be unhappy. So that's my answer to that question. Thanks for joining us on Build It, Baby. If today's episode sparked something in you, please share it with someone who may also be ready to build. We'll be back next Tuesday, same place, more real talk. So until then, please know you already have what you need. Maybe now it's time to take the next step. If so, we've got ya. Always best, P. Build It Baby is a Rainy Day Production House original. hosted by Penelope Bent and produced and edited by Morgan Clymer. Music by Yuri Shemshashin and Oleksiy Holobiev. If this episode spoke to you, please follow the show and leave a review. It helps more dreamers like you find us. And remember, you're not just building a bold business or a career, you're building a bold life.